Hello guys, today is February 22. Let's begin another chapter, another episode of Pinocchio book reading. Chapter 10. The puppets recognized their brother Pinocchio. When Pinocchio came into the little puppet theater, an incident occurred that almost produced the curtain had gone up and the play had already begun. On the stage, Harlequin and Punch were as usual quarreling with each other and threatening every moment to come to blows. All at once Harlequin stopped short and turned to the public. He pointed with his hand to someone far down into the pit, and exclaimed in a dramatic tone, "Gods of the firmament! Do I dream or am I awake? But surely that is Pinocchio!" "It is indeed Pinocchio!" cried Punch. "It is indeed himself!" screamed Miss Rose, peeping from behind the scenes. "It is Pinocchio! It is Pinocchio!" shouted all the puppets in chorus, leaping from all sides on the stage. "It is Pinocchio! It is our brother Pinocchio! Long live Pinocchio!" "Pinocchio, come up here to me," cried, "and throw yourself into the arms of your wooden brothers." At this affectionate invitation, Pinocchio made a leap from the end of the pit into the reserved seat. Another leap landed him on the head of the leader of the orchestra, and he then sprang upon the stage. The embraces, the friendly pinchings, and the demonstrations of warm brotherly affection that Pinocchio received from the excited crowd of actors and actresses of the puppet dramatic company are beyond description. The sight was doubtless a moving one, but the public in the pit, finding that the play was stopped, became impatient and began to shout, "We'll have the play! Go on with the play!" It was all breath thrown away. The puppets, instead of continuing the recital, redoubled their noise and outcries, and, putting Pinocchio on their shoulders, they carried him in triumph before the footlights. At that moment out came the showman. He was a very big and so ugly that the sight of him was enough to frighten anyone. His beard was as black as ink, and so long that it reached from his chin to the ground. I need only say that he trod upon it when he walked. His mouth was as big as an oven, and his eyes were like two lanterns of red glass with lights burning inside them. He carried a large whip made of snakes and foxes' tails twisted together, which he cracked constantly. At his unexpected appearance there was a profound silence. No one dared to breathe. A fly might have been heard in the stillness. The poor puppets of the both sexes trembled like so many leaves. "Why have you come to raise a disturbance in my theatre?" asked the showman of Pinocchio, in the gruff voice of Hobgoblin suffering from a severe cold in the head. "Believe me, honored sir, it was not my fault." "That is enough. Tonight we will settle our accounts." As soon as the play was over, the showman went into the kitchen, where a fine sheep, preparing for his supper, was turning slowly on the pitch in front of the fire. As there was not enough wood to finish roasting and browning it, he called Harlequin and Punch, and said to them, "Bring that puppet here. You'll find him hanging on a nail. It seems to me that he is made of very dry wood, and I'm sure that if you will throw him on the fire, he would make a very beautiful blaze for the roast." At first Harlequin and Punch hesitated, but, appalled by the severe glance from their master, they obeyed. In a short time they returned to the kitchen carrying poor Pinocchio, who was wriggling like an eel taken out of the water, and screaming desperately, "Papa, Papa, save me! I will not die! I will not die!" And that is the end of this chapter. Chapter 11. Fire-Eater sneezed and pardons Pinocchio. The showman, Fire-Eater, for that was his name, looked like a wicked man, especially with his black beard that covered his chest and legs like an apron. On the whole, On the whole, however, he had not a bad heart. In proof of this, when he saw poor Pinocchio brought before him, struggling and screaming, "I will not die! I will not die!" he was quite moved and felt very sorry for him. He tried to hold out, but after a little he could stand it no longer, and he sneezed violently. When he heard the sneeze, Harlequin, who up to that moment had been in the deepest affliction and bowed down like a weeping willow, became quite cheerful, and leaning towards Pinocchio, he whispered to him softly, "Good news, brother. The showman has sneezed, and that is a sign that he pities you, and consequently you are saved." Most men, when they feel compassion for somebody, either weep or at least pretend to dry their eyes. Fire, on the contrary, whenever he was really overcome, had the habit of sneezing. After he had sneezed, the showman, still acting the ruffian, shouted to Pinocchio, "Have done crying. Your lamentations have given me a pain in my stomach. I feel, I feel a spasm that almost... Achoo! Achoo!" And he sneezed again twice. "Bless you," said Pinocchio. "Thank you. And your papa and your mamma, are they still alive?" asked Fire. "Papa, yes. My mamma, I have never known." Who can say what a sorrow who can say what a sorrow it would be for your poor old father if I were to have you thrown amongst those burnt coals? Poor old man, I pity him. Achoo! 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 And he sneezed again 3 times. "Bless you," said Pinocchio. "Thank you. All the same, some compassion is due to me, for as you see, I have no more wood with which to finish roasting my mutton. And to tell you the truth, under the circumstances, you'd have been a great of use to me. However, I have had pity on you, so I must have patience. Instead of you, I will burn under the spit of one of the puppets belonging to my company. Hold the gendarmes." At this call, 2 wooden gendarmes immediately appeared. They were very long and very thin, and had on cocked hats, and held unsheathed swords in their hands. The showman said to them in a hoarse voice, "Take Harlequin, bind him securely, and then throw him onto the fire to burn. I am determined that my mutton shall be well roasted." Only imagine that poor Harlequin! His terror was so great that his legs bent under him, and he fell with his face on the ground. At this agonizing sight, Pinocchio, weeping bitterly, threw himself at the showman's feet, and, bathing his long beard with his tears, he began to say in a supplicating voice, "Have pity, Sir Fire." "Here there are no sirs," the showman answered severely. "Have pity, Sir Knight." "Here there are no knights." "Have pity, Commander." "Here there are no commanders." "Have pity, Excellence." Upon hearing himself called Excellence, the showman began to smile and became at once kinder and more tractable. Turning to Pinocchio, he asked, "Well, what do you want from me?" "I implore you to pardon poor Harlequin." "For him there can be no pardon. As I have spared you, he must be put on the fire. For I, for I am as I have spared you, he must be put on the fire. For I am determined that my mutton shall be well roasted." "In that case," cried Pinocchio proudly, rising and throwing away his cap of breadcrumb, "in that case I know my duty. Come on, gendarmes, bind me and throw me amongst the flames. No, it is not just that poor Harlequin, my true friend, should die for me." These words, pronounced in a loud heroic voice, made all the puppets who were present cry. Even gendarmes, although they were made of wood, wept like 2 newly born lambs. Fire, at first, remained as hard and unmoved as ice, but little by little he began to melt and sneeze, and, having sneezed 4 or 5 times, he opened his arms affectionately and said to Pinocchio, "You are a good, brave boy. Come here and give me a kiss." Pinocchio, Pinocchio ran at once, and climbing like a squirrel up the showman's beard, he deposited a Pinocchio ran at once, and climbing like a squirrel up the showman's beard, Pinocchio ran at once, and climbing like a squirrel up the showman's beard, He deposited a hearty kiss on the point of his nose. Then, then the pardon is granted, asked poor Harlequin in a faint voice that was scarcely audible. The pardon is granted, answered Fire Ear. The pardon is granted, answered Fire Ear. He then added, sighing and shaking his head, I must have patience. Tonight, I must have patience. Tonight I shall have to resign myself to eat the mutton half raw. But another time, woe to him who displeases me. At the news of the pardon, the puppets all ran to the stage, and having lighted the lamps and chandeliers as if for a full dress performance, they began to leap and to dance merrily. At dawn, they were still dancing. And that's the end of this episode, guys. Until next time.